What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Now, since the release of The Mandalorian, I have since seen it a second time, and I was going to start on a third time. And the third time was just kind of to look at the little individual details. Like, I watched it the first time just to sit down, relax, and enjoy it, and just the first experience. The second time, I watched it again, and was a little more critical about it, and then I was going to start it a third time just to notice all the little things in the background and just stuff that I just didn't see the first or second time. But in this video, I want to talk about some of the spoilers and just give my thoughts on the episode a little more in depth than what I did in my actual review for it. So this video is going to be a little more relaxed. You guys can feel free to post spoilers down in the comment section, since obviously this is a spoiler discussion. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And I think one of the reasons that I'm going to really enjoy this show is I've already tweeted about it, but for those of you that don't follow me on Twitter, basically I said that I like Mandalorian because it doesn't feel like episode 7 and 8. Like, it's not pandering to me. It's not throwing nostalgia in my face. It's not trying to pay tribute to the previous Star Wars stuff. Like with episode 7, they just try to do callbacks and nods towards the original trilogy. Like, Starkiller Base was just another Death Star, and the pacing was set up very similar to A New Hope. I mean, they started off on Jakku, which is just mirroring Tatooine. Like, it felt like it was just a new movie that was based off A New Hope. And then episode 8 did a few things to mirror episode 5, like they had the whole thing on Crate, which is basically just Hoth 2.0, and they had another throne room scene, and 7 and 8 just haven't done their own new thing. They keep pulling from the original trilogy, and that's one of the things I hate about those new movies is I want it to tell a new story. I don't need you to make another Death Star. I don't need you to have another throne room scene. I don't need you to do that stuff because I've already watched it once in the original trilogy. Like, if I want to watch that stuff, I'll go watch 4, 5, and 6. I don't want 7, 8, 9 to be mirroring 4, 5, and 6. I want it to be a whole new experience, and that's what The Mandalorian is to me. The Mandalorian is obviously set in a Star Wars universe. Like, it's got a bunch of droids in it, it's got a bunch of creatures that we know exist that we don't really get to see in Star Wars. There's a bunch of Trandoshans in this episode, and they just throw a bunch of everything at you. Like, you know you're watching a Star Wars show, but it's not throwing crap into your face like, hey, remember this from A New Hope? Remember this from this episode? Remember these Trandoshans look like Bosk from episode 5? Like, so far they're not doing that, and I really appreciate it. There's a few things I have questions about. Like, now this takes place after episode 6, so like that scene where he's getting that bounty and there's that room full of stormtroopers. Like, what exactly is their role? Like, after the Empire, like, those stormtroopers looked like their armor was pretty worn out. Like, it could just be because it was like from the desert. They just had wear and tear from the planet that they were on. Are those just really old stormtroopers? Like, the armor's worn out? Are they even stormtroopers at all? Are they just guards that have stormtrooper armor? Are they, like, is the Empire still hanging on? We don't know. Like, what is the exact time frame? Which I'm sure this show's going to answer all these questions as it progresses, but I'm just going over all the questions that I have from watching this episode. Like when I saw those stormtroopers, I just had, like, instantly I was wondering, like, what are these stormtroopers, like, what's their tie-in with this? And I liked that there was a bunch of different creatures and stuff, and I liked how they're going over the backstory about the Mandalorian, and then they upgraded his armor, which I thought was pretty cool. But over the past day or so, I've seen nothing but people talk about the very end, which I'm gonna get to, but it's like no one's mentioning how, like, badass the IG unit is. Like, I've seen a lot of talk about the little baby at the end, but everyone's just brushing over the freaking IG unit. That IG unit was tearing stuff up. It killed like 20 or more people. Like, we always knew about the IG unit because of the famous scene in episode 5 where they had the bounty hunters, but we didn't know what the IG unit could actually do. But that thing can see in 360. It can see everywhere. It knows where every person is. It knows exactly where to shoot. It's super accurate. It can take hits. It got shot multiple times. It was still going. Like, imagine if the Clone Wars just had a whole army of those IG units. I mean, holy crap, that one droid killed that many people. I think the Trade Federation was missing out. I mean, yeah, just get rid of the freaking battle droids and the super battle droids. Just make an entire army of IG units and you're good to go. So seeing that IG unit in action was pretty freaking cool. Now I kind of want it in video games, like add one in Battlefront 2 or something. Like, I never thought the IG unit was that big of a deal. I always saw people talk about him, and they always wanted him in Battlefront since they got Greedo and Bosk and Dengar, but we never got an IG unit. Well, now I'm all for the IG unit because I think that IG unit's probably better than most of the people. Like, I'd take that IG unit over Dengar or Greedo. So I thought that action, that whole entire fight sequence was really cool. Had a little bit of humor where he kept saying he was going to self-destruct. Like, I thought that was kind of funny. And that's the kind of humor I like to see in Star Wars. It's like humorous, but it's not over the top in your face. Like, Episode 8 has porgs, Canto bite scenes. They throw little kid humor at you constantly. But this kind of humor, he's just like, I'm gonna blow myself up. And he's like, no, don't do that. No, why are you trying to blow yourself up? And he tried to do it like 3 times. I like that kind of humor, where it's like a serious situation, and then they just have something, like some kind of smart remark, or just something to like throw off the tone. And it's not over the top, kid friendly, in your face humor. That's the kind of humor I want to see in Star Wars. It reminds me of like Han Solo, like his kind of humor. Like, he was a smart ass and he would say inappropriate things at inappropriate times. Like, as they're getting shot at, he would like say a remark or something. And it reminds me of the old school Star Wars. I really hope The Mandalorian going forward just continues with this pace, and I hope it has this serious tone to it the entire time, because I love seeing this stuff. Like, the bounty hunter stuff is stuff that I've wanted to see. Like, bounty hunters and the underworld stuff, like, we all know that it exists, but they've never really touched on it in Star Wars. But then, as for the baby, everyone keeps referring to it as Baby Yoda, but it's obviously not Yoda for multiple reasons. For example, they said it's a 50-year-old baby, and Yoda hasn't even been dead at this point for 50 years. But the reason that this is such a big deal, and this is considered like the spoiler, because this baby was the spoiler that everyone was talking about. Like, they didn't let the press or anybody review the episode ahead of time because they wanted this to be a surprise. And this is pretty huge for the Star Wars universe, because we don't know anything about Yoda's species, hence why they keep calling it Baby Yoda. We don't know what his species is called. And the only ones I'm aware of are Yaddle and Yoda. Yaddle is the other Yoda species that's seen in like episode 1 and 2, which is part of the council. I'm sure they've gone into detail off screen, like in the comics or something. I'm sure there's something talking about Yaddle. But that species, from what we know, is like really force sensitive. They live for a long time. Yoda was really, really good with the Force. Apparently Yaddle had to have been good with the Force if she made it on the council. So if this thing is very force sensitive and actually continues to live, and if it's a baby at this point, then when like all of episode 9 stuff is happening, it would be a little bit older. Like, depending on what they do with episode 9, this baby could grow up to be another Force user, but who knows what they're trying to do with the Force. It really just depends on the approach they're going with episode 9. Because if they're not supposed to have any more Jedi, and Rey's supposedly the last Jedi, or if she continues to train people after the fact, it's really a toss-up. So maybe they're like planting the foundation for something here. I don't know where they're going to go forward with this. I don't know if the Mandalorian's going to want to like hold on to this baby, or if he's going to turn it in. For some reason, I doubt that he turns it in and he just doesn't finish the bounty. I don't know why he's going to decide to do this. I wonder if like we're going to keep seeing this baby throughout the entire like series, or if he's just going to like tuck it away and hide it or something. Who knows? There's a million questions, but there is another episode coming out Friday, which is pretty cool, and then I think the next one's on Tuesday, and then we're going to get them weekly after that. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, it gives me something to look forward to week by week. It's a good feeling to know that we're going to get weekly Star Wars stuff. Every single week, new episode of Star Wars, new episode of Star Wars, new episode of Star Wars. It's never been done on TV before like this. I mean, yes, if you count the Clone Wars and stuff, but nothing live action. So I'm pretty hyped for this series. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about the baby? What do you think about the IG unit? And just give me your whole thoughts on the series and the first episode so far. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to check out another video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on all social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or join the Discord. All the links are found in the description down below, and I will talk to you guys next time.
We would be honored if you would join us. You cannot resist